In order to understand what the case of Liberia and Ethiopia was, we have to start by understanding what the colonialism has been to Asia and Africa, and which was its impact as well as the causes, consequences, and also own justifications. By definition, colonialism was a period of time between the years 1873 and 1914. It is important to point out that colonialism was coexisting with the Second Industrial Revolution. In fact, it was one of the consequences of the mentioned revolution. During that period of time, the main industrial European powers expanded their territories towards Asia and also towards Africa by subjecting indigenous peoples and exploiting their communities with different aims or targets.
Also, within that period, during 1884 and 1885, the Conference of Berlin was carried out with the aim of disturbing the African territories amongst the different European powers. The aims were based on the effective administration of the African territories, as well as the abolition of slave traffic, following the abolitionist movement, which was formed in 1830 in the United States, as opposition to human slavery and all types of attempts to human principles, human and also moral integrity. It should be noted that all of the African territories were colonized except Ethiopia and Liberia. Nowadays, both countries depend on international organizations and non-governmental institutions. However, this perspective is very westernized. Their ideology concerns the social values and their way of living.
Ethiopia was decolonized by the Allied members by the end of the Second World War. It was one of the first regions where the United Nations Charter was signed. The evolution of Ethiopia through history goes from the development of its empire, dynasties, and a colonization established by the European countries. Nowadays, there is a neo-colonialist system embraced by a domestic corrupted system. Ethiopia's modern settlement is embraced by the transnational period, from 1991 to 1995, through new elections and a new engineered constitution. The World Bank promotes money incomes to progress the structures that will promote the future of Ethiopia. There is a collision of cultures and modern progress when the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia was nominated. Liberia was settled as a colony in 1821. Firstly, it was called Cape Mesurado Colony and later Colony of Liberia in 1824. The American Society for Colonization of Free People of Color of the United States was created by white Americans to get rid of black people from the United States. They want the black people to live in Liberia because of the racism of American white people. Moreover, we can establish a clear analogy amongst the case of Liberia and Sierra Leone because the United Kingdom used the territory of Sierra Leone to send libertos as well as the United States did sending them to Liberia.
It is said that from the Eurocentric vision as well as point of view, Ethiopia and Liberia differentiate themselves from the other African countries because they were not colonized during the Scramble for Africa. The aim of the thesis is to analyze the history of both territories, to conclude the reason why they were not colonized neither by Western nor European societies. As far as similarities are concerned, you can take into account the consequences of the Second Industrial Revolution, such as colonialism, which chose African territories as their perfect victim and possible source of income as well as raw materials and human capital.
Moreover, it is also said that the Western colonizers promoted infrastructure and potentiated growth, but as a matter of fact, all was for the benefit of colonizers who exploit both resources and people. For instance, the existence of slavery. Furthermore, the established borders were a form of oppression and repression for the cultural heritage. Such an example is the one of Liberia, where Americans wanted to settle down there for its own profits and interests, to develop their own particular resources economy. To sum up, the selfish ambition of the Western destroyed the present and the future in short terms, of Ethiopians and Liberian governments and citizenship. At this point, we have concluded that, after a depth research about the topic, we can say that Ethiopia and Liberia were also colonized during a short period of time. Ethiopia was just a colony during 5 years in the hands of Italy, during the dictatorship of Mussolini. On the other hand, Liberia was under the power of the United States.